because I was watching a little sermonette from Mike Todd, the illustrious Mike Todd,
What?
and he was preaching on something, but he had like a real thick Cuban link gold chain on, and it's like I was listening to him, but it's like I'm not a hypocrite, like I think we'll get into maybe a little bit of the jury thing eventually, but like even I felt like a little distracted because like I'm looking at how thick this Cuban is instead of listening to what he's saying, and it's like it's serving as a distraction. And I mean, to me, like it was kind of heavy. So before we dive into it, man, we looking at like the Christian image today and how it's evolved. What parts of it is okay? What parts of it we probably need to revisit? And first thing right off the bat, I want to ask y'all, man, do y'all think image is important? Because I mean, we can talk about image like just in a general sense, but just taking it to a focus point of like Christianity and who we supposed to be. Like, do y'all think image is important?
I do.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say image is 100% important, man. We got to remember, like, especially in the position of Mike Todd, like, you are looked at as a man of God, right? And as a man of God, you should be exemplifying what God is, right? People should be able to, before you even open up your mouth, they should feel the illumination of God coming up out of you, right? And that comes in the form of how you look, how you speak to, perhaps the janitor, how you speak to people who don't hold positions like that. So it's all a package deal with everything that we do, the way we walk, man. So it's definitely important. And I'm just gonna add this. I'm gonna let the other guys. It's supposed to be this little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. This little light inside of me, not this little chain around me. I'm gonna let it shine. No offense, Mike, but that's what it's supposed to be. Tuck your ice, see you wait. All right, y'all know about that song, y'all. But yeah, so that's what it's supposed to be about, man. But go ahead.
Nah,
Yeah.
that's a good point, man. Hold your point, DTH. I just image is a great, is very important, especially in this day and age. I mean, it's one of those situations where you're automatically judged, like what I'm saying. He just says by your outward appearance, but I mean, like I'm gonna hit you with a Bible verse all rip, like what I'm saying. First Peter, it says outward adornment is not as important as the development on your inner self. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like even though you see somebody in the street, by the time you talk to somebody by 2 or 3 words, you can automatically know what their insides are like. Because even though you see an outward appearance, and you out here in your stunning shades and in your hat, no shame, Mr. Leviathan. I know who you are as a person by just how you're talking. So at the end of the day, you gotta let your light shine from the inside, not let what shines on the outside. Because at the end of the day, I remember what's his name? What's Will Smith's son's name? Whatever.
Jaden.
Yeah, Jaden.
Yes,
He made a very good point. He said we are not the same people that we were a year ago because we shed skin cells, we shed hair particles, we what I'm saying, our outward appearances, but we're still different people as time goes on. So at the end of the day, what I'm saying, you may be this person, but you still are who you are, and your identity is who you are on the inside. It's not about what your outward appearance, because we can always put on clothes. We always can change our appearance, but it's what we are on the inside. So that is my opinion.
Well, for me, I don't really look to Jaden Smith for my sage advice, but
I was about to say something like
Yeah,
that.
that's probably the first and only Jaden Smith
Listen,
reference.
it's what
That's
the
a good
man
point.
said is not who he is.
I got you. Yeah, he could say something good every now and then, but
Yeah, man. The Ravens fit Elijah.
there you go. Yeah, so
The
for
man's
image, right?
icon living. What you talking about?
Yeah, that is a good song. I do like that song. Image is important. I think honestly, it's probably more so important than even back in times of the Bible and things like that, because there's such disparity and differences in cultures. Like I think they're magnified now. So standing out is more important today than it has been. And I think I'm honestly not too much of a fan of this phrase called perception is reality, because I think it applies in some cases, but not always. I think there are people who think perception is always reality. And I'm like, no, because if you perceive 2 + 2 is 5, I don't care what you perceive, you're wrong. You know what I mean? Like some things are, no matter how you feel about it. But then in other cases, it can make sense in a way. So I bring that up to say, if somebody looks at you, um everybody judges a book by its cover to start with, right? There's no exception
Human
to the
nature.
rule. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's human nature. There's no exception to the rule. So the way you dress and the way you present yourself is part of that. So that's the first thing people will see. I actually think I saw some article, some study the other day that said, like, I think it was talking about in terms of interviews, like job interviews, people make a judgment about you like in the first half a millisecond. Like it's so quick how people will just look at you. Like that first interaction is everything. So that really can take the whole interview in a certain direction, whether you get the job or not, before you even speak. So image is hugely important. And as Christians, I mean, it has to be important to us as well. So I'll leave it
Yeah,
there
no.
for now.
Yeah. Just to chime in here a little bit on the question, I mean, image is huge. I would say image is definitely, like David said, the cover of a book. You don't ever get to a book without getting to the cover first. And it just to kind of highlight it. It even says in Second Corinthians, we're ambassadors for Christ. So we have to. And if you look at what an ambassador is in the world, in terms of a political, geographical standpoint, ambassadors, and they represent that country. So when they look at the ambassador in whatever country they're at, they're looking at that country. When they have an ambassador for the United States in France, they're looking to that guy for all the United States answers. So I mean, that's how we have to think about it when we're operating for Christ, is that we have to represent him in everything that we do. And that goes on to say that image is important, but I will like to say that, you know, there is probably maybe an emphasis or too much importance sometimes placed on image, and I'll leave it at that for now, because I'm sure we'll get into it. But just to get to like a tattoo per se, like, can that image or can that message, detract, or can it aid from, representing Christ?
Hey, what's happening? This is Daryl James, 1/5 member of the Hold Your Point podcast. Hey, be sure to like, share, and subscribe this video. Be coming with the heat.